When the asteroid lust is in Virgo, it becomes a careful craft. Meticulous, measured, and impossible to fake. This is lust in Virgo. People with lust in Virgo, I guess, first and foremost, I should say, these people really desire people that look healthy. Now, that could mean a lot of things depending on the person with lust in Virgo placement. So that could mean somebody that is very curvy, muscular, and statuesque, or it could mean something completely different. I think it really plays into like culture when we're talking about lust in Virgo, but one thing I will say is that they don't like if you have bad breath, it is going to scream unhealthy to them in some way, shape, or form. Or if you just have bad BO, and even if it's like a hormonal thing and you try to explain it away, they already have the ick and they're already running out the door. Because so much of Virgo is about precision, and it has a lot to do with like being grounded in the body. And so yes, these people are attracted to people that exude health, cleanliness, some sort of order. You don't have to be the most well put together person, but you do need to look like you kind of got your shit together. Emphasis on kinda, because you need to like look like you've had your shit together for like 98% of the time, and then that other 2% you can be a complete mess, because lust in Virgo loves to have something to fix. So like, let them find that one thing that they can fix about you and you'll have them hooked. Like, they're not going anywhere. A lot of Virgo's energy is wrapped up in being service oriented, and we'll talk about how to service these people with this lust placement in a little bit. But what you need to know is that Virgo is an earth sign. It's about stability, it is about health and the body, detail orientedness, and all of that. But also a lot of that as far as self-esteem goes, because when we're talking about lust, we are partially talking about Venusian energy. These people love to feel needed in some way, shape, or form. Virgo is very much like the healer slash apprentice. And so not only do these people really love somebody that can teach them something and stimulate their mind and sometimes even their hands, but they also love people that need their help. And that can be a little dangerous sometimes, because these people can be outstanding people pleasers because they feel like they need to be needed. Sometimes at their worst, they can really hook that needing to service people to how much they feel worthy of other people, and they tie that to their self-esteem sometimes, unfortunately. So if you ever call on a lust in Virgo, just know that you are itching that part of their brain that it might really need a confidence and ego boost, because they do thrive on being of service. And so with that being said, sometimes servicing these people can be a bit hard because they don't really communicate what they need. Honestly, if I'm blunt, these people are going to be the ones that kind of expect you to be a mind reader when it comes to what they need. They really appreciate people that are able to read in between the lines and kind of anticipate what they might need, or at least kind of feel into the energy of what they might need. And so they like people that are observant. It would not surprise me at all if people with lust in Virgo have like some sort of like funny like comedian like friend, not only because Virgo is ruled by Mercury, but some of the best active listeners and intuitive listeners that are able to pull out the hidden meanings of what somebody said are comedians. And so it would not surprise me at all if lust in Virgo people had like that token like comedian best friend or funny best friend or partner. And honestly, that's probably a boon for this placement. Not to say that Virgo is just like a wet blanket. That's definitely not the case. They're ruled by Mercury, and so these people love to laugh. It probably makes life a lot more colorful that way. And Mercury is the god of mischief. And so these people can be quite mischievous. They love to, make jokes and everything like that. But sometimes with that earth really being a part of Virgo, things can get heavy really quickly. But with that earth energy, these people are not the types that like stagnancy in anything. Even though they are earth and you might feel like earth moves at a glacial pace, they don't like stagnancy. Virgo is still a double-bodied sign, and so that means it's all about change. It's a mutable sign. it likes to transition into things. And so it does like to see movement, not just because it's ruled by Mercury, but because of that modality. But they do like to be able to see things in motion slow enough and in a natural pace so that if they need to run in and tweak anything, they can. They like to set the pace of things, whether it's in relationships, in projects, or whatever. They like things to go slow enough so that if they need to go in and fix something, then they can do that. Now, for any sort of like erogenous zones, these people might really enjoy like hand or palm kisses. Mercury is going to rule the hands. And Virgo is definitely like the craftsman, apprentice kind of like energy. And so I could definitely see like palm kisses or stomach kisses, because Virgo also rules the intestines and like the digestive system. And so while I don't suggest that you make any sort of jokes about like ripping them open and kissing their organs, maybe stomach kisses would be nice. Or I don't know, depending on the lust and Virgo person, they might really enjoy that. These people are very studied lovers. They will observe everything that brings you pleasure. They want nothing less than to give themselves to you, mind, body, and soul. And not just to you, like to the world, essentially. Because a lot of what I said in the beginning about them wanting to be of service goes inside and outside of the bedroom. And so they want nothing less than to just kind of like be of service to the whole world. And if you're their special person, that's what they're doing for you. They desire to service you. Lust and Virgo just loves to do that. Now, my last thing that I will say is we talked about how do you service a Lust and Virgo placement. If you are going to do an act of service for these people, what I would say is observe them doing that act of service first before you do it. Observe it down to like the finest detail and then replicate that. Or actually be very careful about if you add on to that, because that could mess up the whole like surprise or act of service in general. But observe how they do it to avoid any sort of frustration or reluctant thank you. Like one of these like thank you. That's what you probably get from a Lust and Virgo placement. If you just kind of gave them an act of service that they didn't deem as correct, they would say thank you, but they probably hate it in the inside. But other than that, that's all I have for you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that it was helpful. Let me know if you have Lust in Virgo. Other than that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.